Here's how to get good at remote sales as quickly as possible. If you're a beginner in the sales space or you're looking to break into it and just see if this is something you actually even want to do, perhaps, this video will fundamentally change the way you approach learning sales, actually practicing and performing on sales calls. This is the same thing that took me to making 17K in a single month with remote sales, having multiple 5-figure months. Even at a certain point, having a 93% close rate, as you can see here. Close rate is insane, dog. Pretty sure it's in the 90s. I used to work in corporate sales prior. Been in a warehouse job, landscaper before that, college dropout. Not going to give you the whole story. I was able to generate $6 million in pipeline and have been able to close $1.4 million within my sales career. This is the same thing that also helps Bader go from making 3K a month to 18K a month within sales. Without further ado, let me introduce step number 1, which is know your outcome. Now, why is knowing your outcomes super important? What outcomes are in the first place? Essentially data that you need to collect throughout the call that allows you to have a predictable sales process and have everything you need to work efficiently, help the other person across from you, and make as much cash as you possibly can. Here's some examples of outcomes. We have a tangible outcome, which is desired outcome, which is what they want out of your offer. Then you have below that what they need to get help on that, a problem that your offer solves, and then what experience shaped their need to get help on that. This falls under the broader stage of the sales call, which is tangible outcome. Then after that, you have stage, current situation, problem awareness, pre-handling, ideal criteria, future pacing, cost of an action, and pitch. I break all of this down on a 3-hour sales course to have down below in the description where I go into detail on each of those things. Feel free to watch that after this video if that's something you want to know more about. You have all these different stages throughout the sales call. You're going to need to know each of these different things. You should be able to know the outcomes you're getting so that way you know which questions you need to be asking and how you need to ask those questions. You don't want to have any wasted fluff going throughout a sales call. That is one valuable calendar time that could be using to make more money. 2, it makes the process a lot more unpredictable, which makes your outcomes less predictable. And when the outcome of the call is less predictable, well, what is the outcome in the first place? That's whether they close or they don't, as well as the total amount of cash that you're actually able to collect on that call. You can dramatically affect the amount of money that you make per call and per month on average just by having dialed in outcomes. Now, step number 2 is here on screen, which is stop objection handling. Do this instead. What I'm referring to is pre-handling. If you're new to the concept of pre-handling, what I believe it is essentially just pre-handling objections prior to them coming up at the end of the call. You can identify what belief and decision-making patterns a prospect you're speaking to has had prior to hopping on the call. The same things that's held them back in the past, whether it was on another call or someone they've brought forward from before, or as to why they've never taken action, those will continue to flare up. Now, obviously, you hope people change. You hope that marketing does its thing. But if you want to become an elite sales rep and make a lot of money, really, double, triple your commissions, if you can be the belief shifter on the call and knock out every single last one of those little pins before you hit a strike, then you can collect more cash on call, get more closes, and change more lives. Shout out to Abdullah for allowing me to use this clip. The first thing you're going to be seeing here is a do-it-yourself pre-handle. You ask the prospect, why are they looking to get help with this, and why are they doing that versus being like everybody else and then just doing it themselves? The reason we do this is to avoid the objection at the end, oh, I would rather just do this myself. I'll give you an example.
What's making you also get help with this versus just doing it yourself? Because a lot of people will be like, all right, I'll just figure it out.
It's mainly just like minimizing like the risk I take, because like I feel like if I do it by myself, then like I'm gonna spend a lot of time and like a lot of money just wasting away my resources, when I could be like, if I just like get help and guidance, then it could like streamline the process and I can make it that much more quicker.
So we'll stop it there. But as you can see, he's literally selling himself, telling me why he needs help. So I'm not going to go too deep into this, but this is an example of a pre-handle. There's a bunch of different reframes you can use depending on what objections that you sense. Obviously, everything is going to come down to logistical or fear. And if you get a logistical objection in a stage, then you usually would resort to being resourceful. How resourceful can you get? What's changed now, of course, right? So these are some different reframes for resources. You have a girlfriend reframe if they've been burned in the past. And then we have someone who's not prioritizing their goals enough. Now for step 3, the most important part of having success within sales. Obviously, we sat there and we talked about some of the hard skills, right? How to pre-handle objections, knowing your outcomes, having a predictable sales process. That way you can get predictable results. But if you're going to be challenging prospects to get uncomfortable, change their life, and hand you over thousands of dollars, you need to have a level of authority and trust. If you have high conviction, high authority, high confidence, and people trust you and they're sitting in front of you, because there is an energy exchange that happens here, an idea exchange, you are coaching them through a life-changing decision. What you're asking of prospects, you need to be doing yourself. And what does that actually look like? It looks like when you're telling someone to be the best version of themselves, what would you do, the version of you who's accomplishing all your goals? What would they do in this instance? What would they do in this moment right now? They need to act congruent to that that behavior. Because if they start acting that way and having the same belief systems as this individual, it's only a matter of time before their reality catches up to them if they apply, do the work consistently, they stay disciplined for a long enough period of time. This is the same exact behavior you need to introduce into your personal life. The more congruent you are with your goals, your habits, the more disciplined you can be when it comes to being aligned with your highest version of yourself, and really having a definitive goal as to where you want your life to end up going, who you want to be, what you want to look like, who you want to be around. If you can have those goals and you stay to them, it's going to translate so heavily into the sales call because it can sense that you are actually doing this in your own life. They see the person in front of them is in shape, has shit going on for them. You have stories, you have nuance to be able to demonstrate to the prospects. And with that, they're going to have so much more trust in you. You're going to have so much more authority, and you're going to be able to make so much more of an impact on their life because the words and belief systems that you are transferring to them are actually going to resonate because the messenger is worthy of the message. A lot of times what I see within sales is guys are not really locked in on their personal life. They are not in good shape. They're either super skinny, super fat, and they don't necessarily try to get out of that. They have addictions, they're abusing stimulants, and that is not congruent to where they want to be at. Now, I'm not saying I'm a saint at all. I smoke weed every day. I take caffeine to the absolute max. I am a complete degenerate, but I'm still able to make time to get things done, contribute towards my goals and my futures, give back to others. And when you give more than you take, you get more than you gave. So give more to the game, give more blood, effort, sweat, tears, and you will get more than you could have ever asked for. And this isn't as sexy as getting the newest skill, getting the newest tactic, because it's real, hard, difficult, tangible work. You can fake the amount of money you have. You can fake what you're showing out there on the internet. But you cannot fake your self-confidence, your self-belief, who you are as an individual. That takes proof effort. The way you look, your body fat percentage, the way you conduct yourself, your energy, your actual skills are a byproduct of real hard work. You have to get uncomfortable in order to grow. And that's the only way you're going to make the amount of money and live the life that you actually aspire to. Acting congruent and getting disciplined was the same thing that took me from being a complete bot degenerate fucking loser. You can check on my Instagram to see a little bit more about that. I'll have a video on my page as well about my story, which you can go check out on my YouTube channel. But that aside, that's what took me from going from that to making $70K a year at 19. I'm 22 now. Now I live out in Thailand. I've had months in my own business making 5-figure months. I've made $17K in a single month closing. I've helped Jalen go from being a security guard, working as a janitor, to making 3, 4, 5K a month online. Bader go from 3K a month to 18K a month. I have multiple people I've worked with who have been able to reach these levels. But even better than that, I've learned from so many individuals who are way more self-developed than me, making 30, 50, 100K a month, while also having an amazing, well-rounded, balanced lifestyle. And those people preach the same exact thing, which is congruency. So if you want more of the skills and the tactics, feel free to go ahead and watch this video in the description in my 3-hour long sales course, where I'll go into this a little bit more in detail. But if you want help implementing this one-on-one with me and also learn a little bit more about the congruency side, because that's not something I necessarily have published too much and talked too much about. I have some secrets, and it's a little bit more nuanced and personalized to each individual. If you want help with that stuff as well, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram with questions, or just go ahead and book a call down below in the description.